The purpose of this show is to guide you to realign with habits that get you to live the life you've always dreamed of. This is the Habit-Based Lifestyle Podcast with Jesse Yule. This is the Habit-Based Lifestyle, where you can access your full potential right now. Finally break free from destructive habits. That dream life, if you want it, you can have it. This is where you transform your health, mind, business, and relationships. Or do nothing and keep your life the way it is. But if you're ready for change, you're in the right place. This is where you're gonna learn how to live a habit-based lifestyle. You are tuning in to the Habit-Based Lifestyle Podcast with your host, Jesse Yule. This is the Habit-Based Lifestyle. Let's go.
And today we're going to talk about this habit of not feeling enough, this habit of lack. So I'm going to start this off today by just simply asking you these two questions. Do you ever feel not enough? Do you ever feel this lack? So I want to tell you a little story today about just remembering the first time I learned to meditate. I remember being at Warrior Week, January 2015, and we were taught this specific type of meditation. It was called mantra meditation. And I can remember closing my eyes, doing this breathing, saying these things in my head. But I remember my brain almost speeding up. It was almost going faster than actually slowing down. I was wondering if I was doing it right. I was wondering if other people had their eyes closed. I mean, basically, it was like a shit show. And it was almost like it was worse, not better. Like my mind was racing the entire time. But I remember just simply being like, well, I'm going to commit to doing this. And over the next year, I would use apps. I would use, bands, rings, whatever I could get my hands on to try and hack meditation. I began to study. I began to learn different forms. I began to dive into it. But I want you to also know where I was coming from at the time. You see, at the time, I had no experience with meditation. I thought it was really for hippies, yogis, all these things. But as I began to practice and build reps and begin to meditate, I started to find a place of peace. I found this space where I could get into my own thoughts, and I began to hear the voice inside of me. And this voice inside of me, I began to be able to tap into. And I began to find answers that I was looking for, that I was searching for. And I want to remind you this: if you're just starting out to doing this or wanting to take on meditation, and you're not really sure where to begin, there's a lot of apps, that you have. I'm sure if someone was like an instructor in meditation, they're going to be like, dude, that's not the best place to go. But sometimes it is, because it gives us the opportunity to do this by ourselves in a place. And then as we continue to move down the chain, I may end up actually going to someone who teaches me. But there's apps like Headspace, Calm, YouTube. There's places like Transcendental Meditation where you can actually do a course online. But the key thing inside of this is there's really no wrong way to meditate other than just not doing it. So back to now that you kind of have a story around what I've done for meditation and where I started, back to the experience like I had today. You see, I came in to work out, and I worked out, I got done, and I just had this overwhelming feeling of not enough, this overwhelming feeling of lack, which both of these feelings are all driven by scarcity. And during my morning meditation, as I began to sat there, I began to feel these things. I began to internalize them. But as soon as I began to go through some meditation, I was reminded by this voice that I am enough. And this voice also said, Jesse, you have everything that you currently need in your life. You lack nothing. Look at your life. You see, when I look back at my life 4 years ago, 3 years ago, 2 years ago, even 5 months ago, I have exactly everything I need in this moment. I lack nothing. It's just the feeling of lack is what I lack. It's just the feeling of not enough. And how often do we let our feelings get in the way of our reality? How often do we let our feelings override what's actually true for us? So why would my brain actually go to this place? Or why would I actually go to this place even though I have enough? Well, our feelings often take us to these places. And we all have these habits, these routines, this programming, this old programming. And I find times in my life where I just go back to old habits, old programming. But it's also an opportunity for me to reprogram, pick up a different habit when the minute I go to this place. So if you think about today, the minute I had this feeling and went to this place, I just happened to be meditating. And I began to find myself going deeper into this. And I don't really believe these thoughts or habits will ever really go away. What I do believe is I have an opportunity to change them and choose something different and go down another path just simply by being in this place. So what I really understand out of all this is like, it's my thoughts, my feelings, my emotions. They're all driving me to these different places. But my habits are what bring me back and get me back on the road. So imagine, you're driving down a freeway and immediately you start swerving. Maybe you take an exit. These are your thoughts, your feelings, and emotions. Your habits, your routines begin to get you back on the right path. They're almost like a roadmap. Now, some of our habits and some of our feelings can take us way off course also, but the key thing I want you to see inside of this is the minute my brain began to go to this place, I was able to come back to one simple thing, and that was to meditation. Now, there's some lessons that I also learned inside of this, and I want you to really think about this for yourself in your own life. This morning, I was reminded to trust myself, trust God. If you don't believe in God, then that's on you, whatever you believe in, but also to trust the universe. If I look back at the last 4 years, if I look back at my life, I can say, listen, I have no choice but to trust the universe. Look at my life. Look where it's been and look where I am now. I also was reminded of this simple lesson. The habit of me consistently meditating had allowed me to tap into the true power in myself, the universe, and God. And I began to leverage that today in my own experience. The other lesson is this. I've tried all kinds of meditation. I just happen to find the meditation that works best for me. So a simple lesson is try everything. Try every type of meditation and find the one that works best for you. The other key thing is this. You're going to have to practice this every day. If you're not sure how to do it, just start with 2 minutes. If you've been in these episodes before, you've heard about the 2-minute habit of just starting to do something. If you're just starting to do something, do it under 2 minutes or do it in 2 minutes and just start there. If you're still not sure, just pull over on the side of the road, turn your radio off, close your eyes, and just sit there for 2 minutes. If you're at home, do it in a quiet place at home. If you're in your office, turn your lights off, close your shades, and set your timer for 2 minutes and just sit there in silence for 2 minutes. Here's what else I got out of it. Today, I'm grateful that I can create this same power inside of me by leveraging an old pattern, an old programming. The only thing I have to do is choose which place I want to go. Do I want to go down the path of feeling lack, feeling not enough? Or do I want to go down this other path of being able to access power and focus inside of me? Now, it may not be that easy for you, but here's what I know. Without me getting in a lot of repetitions and consistently meditating, I would not be able to do this either. So it's going to take you some time to build up this spiritual muscle, this meditation muscle, and to find space. But the simplest way to do it is just to begin to focus inward daily, even if it's only 2 minutes. After 5 days, increase your time to 4 minutes. But just make sure it's better for you to do it consistently more often than it is to do it for 20 or 30 minutes once a week. But I want you to really think about this, because I know everybody that's listening on here has these same experiences, these same thoughts, these same feelings that come up, but it's really up to you and the way you choose to work through them. So your final assignment is this today. You're going to ask yourself some simple questions. Can I sit in a quiet place and look at my own thoughts? Do I actually take time every day for myself to sit in silence? And what's the simplest way for me to start a habit of just meditating? Guys, I appreciate you being on here and listening today, but these questions are very important for you. These are also questions I had to answer myself. And as I began to answer them, I began to find the answer inside of me. You see, that's the crazy thing about this, is the answers aren't outside of you, they're inside of you. But you're going to have to sit in a place of silence. You're going to have to access this part of yourself to be able to find these answers. So that's it for today. Guys, I would love to get a review from you, some feedback. Shoot me an email if you have any specific questions. I would love to be able to help you out. I'd be honored to help you. You can email me at jesse@habitbasedlifestyle.com. You can also check out my website, habitbasedlifestyle.com. I will be back with next episode, and we'll be diving into a new topic. Until then, have a great day.
The purpose of this show is to guide you to realign with habits that get you to live the life you've always dreamed of. This is the Habit-Based Lifestyle Podcast with Jesse Ewing.